podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Listen, we were just talking about what we're going to cover in the show, and we started talking about, oh, wait a minute, it's PSG at home, and I got genuine butterflies in my stomach. We're recording this on the Monday night, a week and a day before that Paris Saint-Germain game, and I'm already excited.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that one. First, victory for United, again, overcoming the blip that was Burnley.
Yeah.
Back to the W Hotel. We checked out for a couple of nights.
Moved in next door.
Yeah, to the D Hotel. Doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
Nope. It has a very different, very specific ring to it.
So this wasn't... I mean, this was a hard-fought game, a narrow victory for United. Won in the details. This was difficult. I mean, we said, I think, in our preview last week that this was going to be a tricky one. It didn't feel like it was going to be a tricky one after 15 minutes or so, did it? And then suddenly Leicester clawed their way back into the game, and United never really exerted dominance again.
So it's interesting because we did say it was going to be a tricky game, but I don't want to speak for you, Ed, but that's not the way in which I thought it was going to be tricky. I thought Leicester might be tricky. They've obviously not conceded many. I think that was the thrust of what we said on the preview. But I thought maybe they would be difficult to break down. They'd be well organised defensively, so some of our probing wouldn't work. But actually, even though we had more possession than Leicester, it felt like the balance of play for much of that game was with them. I mean, I suppose some of that is coloured by the fact that we did go ahead after 11 minutes, thanks to an absolutely sumptuous goal.
Oh, it was a beauty, but before we get on to the beauty, let's talk about the horror, which came just a few minutes before Marcus Rashford missing a very good headed chance from not very far out. And
all right, let's have a little quiz. Have you looked up the XG of that chance, Ed?
I have not,
right,
but
well, give it a guess. Give it your best guess.
I'm going to say it was somewhere near 0.5.
That's very, very good. 0.53. That chance.
Yeah, he should have put it away. Well, 0.5 says you give him 10 of those and he's going to score 5 of them and not.
Yeah.
But still, quality of striker, because, of course, XG takes into account all strikers as well as the good ones. So Marcus's quality and form, you'd expect him to put that away. And, of course, those are the kind of chances he's missed before. And Ole Solskjaer talked about it before the game, saying he wanted Rashford and Martial to get more tap-ins and to stop scoring not stop scoring, but not just score the worldies.
Yep, he said scruffy goals, didn't he?
Yeah, Rashford didn't listen, did he? Because he missed the tap-in and scored a bloody worldie.
I mean, Paul Pogba! Paul Labiel Pogba!
Yeah, watching. But I mean, all right, the pass was good, but let's talk about Pogba's first touch, because he's kind of fluffed that a little bit. He didn't trap it properly, did it? But
he set himself for an absolutely beautiful through ball, right?
Yeah, so it's bounced up a little bit, but to hit that weighted, what do you call that? Pass, lob pass. It wasn't even a chip. It was kind of beautifully arced topspin forehand.
Yes,
through to Marcus Rashford, who took it first time control and touch, and in the same movement lashed it in. Just lovely all round.
Absolutely exquisite. And at that point, we did think maybe this was on. And you have to say that Puel's Leicester certainly didn't crumble under the pressure of that. And I think we had this is a bit impressionistic, but I'd say we had probably about another 10 minutes or so where we were kind of on top. But by the end of the second half, Leicester had really grown into it. And certainly the beginning of the second half, that continued in that fashion. Now, I could be wrong, but David De Gea didn't make any spectacular saves in this game, did he?
He made. I seem to remember in the second half he made a very good one.
Yeah, was that the one from the free kick? Maybe where
from
he
the free kick?
It
yeah, that's heading in the top corner, and it didn't even seem that good, to be honest. It's just routine.
Yeah, that was what I thought.
But when the striker, sticks one in the top bins and David just pats it away like he's he's not bothered about it. There you go.
Yeah, positioning, as they say. There were a couple of chances which really were, unlike the Spurs game, a couple of chances which really should have been put either side of De Gea and weren't. There was that one that Vardy hit on the spin, and if it's like either side of De Gea, it's so close that even De Gea probably doesn't save it, but it really was straight at him in the middle of the goal. And there was another one late on like that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Vardy was pretty frustrated with himself after that, understandably so. He's never really quite recovered the same form as he had during Leicester's title win, has he?
He's scored a lot of goals since Leicester's title win, to be fair.
He has, but it's not exactly the same. And I guess Leicester have had a little trouble scoring goals this season. They don't take a lot of shots. I mean, United don't take a lot of shots, but we've taken a lot more shots than they have this season.
We do take a lot of shots now. Like
we didn't take a lot of shots.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been difficult for Leicester. And this is one of the reasons why Paul's under pressure. I mean, given their transfer and wage budget, they're about where they should be, about mid-table. And he's not doing a bad job. They win some, they lose some. They've had some good wins this season over City and Chelsea, as we noted, and a draw with Liverpool last week, and they gave United a real game here. And there wasn't a lot of difference, honestly, between this game in which United won and last week's game in which they got a draw with Liverpool. Just in the details. So it is the style that has him under pressure. And they never really, for all their the sort of good play they had in United's half, they didn't create loads of chances. And they didn't create enough big chances, and they definitely look very functional. I guess it's a little bit of how they played through midfield with Ndidi and Mendy and Maddison, but it also allowed them to get a real foothold in the game because those three grafted an awful lot, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean the big difference between the Liverpool game and our game was just the paucity of chances that Liverpool created, because both teams in the United game had like decent numbers XG wise, and Liverpool was like around half, wasn't it, for their performance? I guess that was the big difference, really. We were just better than Liverpool were in the two relative games. But yeah, you're right. It was there were some fine performances on the Leicester side, and I don't know, in a way, you can definitely say like the initial incredible bump of spectacular performances has definitely died off, but it was always going to. And it's an absolutely massive result because we're now, when you go to Google and look at the Premier League, you don't have to click the little arrow to expand it to see us.
No.
So
there's that tweet that's been doing the rounds, United sack Mourinho 6th. Rashford back in the team 6th, Pogba released 6th, and all that nonsense. Well, not true anymore, is it, mate?
No, 5th. We're 5th, baby.
Could be in the top 4 by the end of the week, depending on other results.
So when Mourinho was sacked, Manchester United had
11 points behind.
Yeah, they were 11 points behind 4th, but even Arsenal, they were 8 points behind Arsenal. And had a 0 goal difference compared to Arsenal's plus 14 goal difference. And now United have plus 14 goal difference and are 1 point ahead of Arsenal, who have plus 15 goal difference. So they've made up 13 of the 14 goal difference and all of the points plus 1 on the team above them at that point.
I mean, it's remarkable, and that's what you get when you win 9 games out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, you're now 2 points off the top 4. And okay, so Higuain hit the ground running for Chelsea against the team.
After I trashed him last week, or maybe the week before, yeah.
Yeah, but listen, let's see how he does against teams other than Huddersfield. I mean, I don't know. I was genuinely a bit surprised when you trashed him because I'd heard mostly positive stuff about him, but I think you mostly trashed him based on this season, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's not had a good season with Milan. He's a proven goal scorer over the years, and Chelsea do create a lot of good chances. So if you look at Morata's shot map and the ones he missed, and if Higuain gets in the same positions, which isn't necessarily true that he will do, but if he did, you'd imagine he'd score more goals. But he's definitely a player on the slide, but a good player. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see where he gets to.
Yeah, we will, and we'll see where we get to. I wonder whether there was a couple of things about that Leicester game. I mean, I said this after Burnley as well, but I do think one of the big reasons for United's underperformance, if you look, basically we've played really well every time Solskjaer's played what you would say is his first team. But this game he definitely didn't play his first team in that Alexis Sanchez played, and Alexis Sanchez is just bad at football now.
Yeah, I did want to pick out a few of the players in this game because there were some perhaps different lights and some of the normal lights starred as well, but some different lights. So Sanchez had a really bad game. He just couldn't get into it, and he was pretty ineffective throughout. I'm not sure that Lingard had a great game either, which, I'm glad to see him back in the side, and he's become a very important player for Ole's side, but not quite as dynamic, not as penetrative as he has been. I mean, obviously Marcus got the goal and Pogba's provided the beautiful assist. I thought Pogba had a very good game all round.
That bit can I just say before you carry on, in the second half, there was a break and I was laughing out loud watching it because Pogba turned away from a Leicester player, giving himself half a yard of space, and then just started running, not looking like he was exerting a vast amount of effort. And within a split second, United had the ball deep into Leicester territory, and there were Leicester players just bouncing off Pogba.
Right near the end of the game. I mean, talk about how. I mean, so you'd imagine being able to lump it up to someone like Lukaku and relief pressure there, or lumping it into the corner. Paul Pogba running with the ball and taking out 4 Leicester players and winning a foul. Exactly the same thing. I mean, absolutely vital. There's barely any midfielder in Europe who is able to keep control of the ball under such immense pressure. It's he's got all the technical skills, of course, but I think people don't talk about this one. He's just amazing in tight spaces.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Someone who's not quite as amazing in tight spaces is Nemanja Matic, who didn't have a bad game going forward. But no, honestly, I mean, Ndidi and Mendy have given him the run around the whole game. I mean, it's not like they won't get high scores on who scored or whatever, because they're there just to provide bodies in midfield and ensure a strong base for Leicester, which is the way they play. But he just couldn't get into the game as a result. Herrera had a good game. Herrera back in the side, showing how important he is to United now. I did want to call out a couple of players because while eyeballing this game, I was like, we could really do with better performances out of our fullback. I'm like, I really want Shaw to do well, and I want Young to retire because he's great servant. He's done fine in fullback positions, but an upgrade definitely needed. Look at the numbers. Shaw's numbers are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, tackles, interceptions and blocks, 3 chances created, 2 of them big chances. Didn't put any crosses in, and maybe that's what I was mentally looking at. He's not getting to the byline and putting in ball. But as an effective defensive and attacking force, those numbers were really good.
No, I had exactly the same experience because it was like, yes, this game's playing right into the hands of my agenda. I don't actually want that to happen, by the way. That was a joke, just to be clear. But then, like you, I looked at the numbers and was like, okay. And that's happened a few times lately with Luke Shaw. I think he got 3 key passes in the game against Burnley as well. So he's up there in terms of chance creation now. And
I wonder whether it's just, sorry, you may be about to say this. I wonder whether he's just cutting inside a lot.
Yeah, and passing it to Pogba, who's shooting. And then he gets
that might be that.
Then he gets a key pass.
Yeah, we can look this up actually. Actually on Y-Scout, where I was playing with this week, since you mentioned it a couple of pods in a row, I thought, okay, well, I'm going to sign up for a trial. They do the pass combinations, so but I didn't actually look at this one, so that was completely pointless. Little
I'm
aside.
I'm super excited if you start signing up for Y Scout though, because that's
I might do.
There's
a hell of a lot of data in there, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is. That'll take this podcast data to a whole nother level.
Well, I was watching the under-15s last week, and you wouldn't believe.
I wanted to make another point about, and it was a point about substitutions in this game, because I thought they were kind of interesting and telling. So the Sanchez for Martial was super obvious, and Martial made a massive difference immediately after hitting the pitch. I think it was a few seconds later we won a corner, and it was marked and noticeable. And of course, we talked about this last week as a thing that was about to happen, but I don't believe it had been announced by the time we recorded. Marouane Fellaini's gone and Martial signed another contract. So he's here till 2024, and that's all official, which is fantastic. But I mean,
which is great news. And he didn't start, I imagine, because he picked up that minor injury last week. And this is pretty sensible with so many big games coming up.
But then I thought, actually, taking Rashford off for Lukaku, I didn't like as a sub, because I felt like the thing we need is to hold the ball up and relieve pressure. And the thing Lukaku's almost worst at in some ways is holding the ball up and relieving pressure. It tends to be that we start going long towards him almost immediately. And we did in this game. And then he's just not good at it. He's just not good at Rashford's much better at holding the ball up, in that he'll get the ball, beat a man, run into the corner if he needs to, these kinds of things. I don't know. I did not like that sub, and I don't think it worked out great for us either.
Mm. Yeah, well, as we've mentioned previously, it's going to be an interesting summer with Lukaku and exactly how he fits into whoever comes in as manager, whether it's Ole, and of course he makes a better case for himself by the week, or somebody else.
And to me, this was not about even like Lukaku's future at United. It's about how you use him in the here and now. And there's lots of ways that you can use him that are effective and useful. But I really don't think bringing him on to try and ease pressure in the last few minutes of the game, or last, not small number of minutes in the game, but like 15 or whatever it was. I just thought that was kind of asking for trouble. And given that we've hammered other managers for substitutions and stuff, I thought it was probably only fair. And then, of course, they brought on Phil Jones, and the Sky cameras focused on him for like a minute and a half straight. And you're like, oh God, he's going to put one in his own net, isn't he? But he didn't. He didn't. So well done.
I was straight on the live betting, $5 on Phil Jones OG. I wasn't. It was a tenner.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, that's definitely one where we scraped to win. But listen, a win's a win's a win's a win's a win's a win. And it wasn't a good performance, but it wasn't absolutely abject by any stretch of the imagination. It's not ridiculous that we won that game. It was a little fortunate.
Yeah. And they shaded it on the XG, Leicester did. But this was a really, really tight game. One of those games you need to win if you need to win the title, as pundits would say. Anyway, you got anything else to say about Leicester? I think I'm out of stuff.
Yeah, that's me done. I was very, very, very happy at full time, just because
obviously, if this game had been played under Paul Ince, United would have won bazillion 0. Shall we talk about Paul Ince briefly?
Do we have to? Honestly,
we've probably got about 50 questions on him, but I'm asking the question. I'm asking the question, on a scale of 0 to complete idiot, what is Paul Ince?
I mean, he genuinely said he'd be achieving the same results as Solskjaer at United.
To be fair, he shared the credit around. He said Brucey or Hughes would do the same thing too.
I mean, I think I'll give it to Brucey. I'm not giving it to Hughes. I think there's every chance that Steve Bruce could have engineered a glorious new manager bounce.
Yeah. And look, I'm all up for mocking Ince, especially since he went to Liverpool and celebrated wildly scoring against us. I haven't forgotten that. But I don't think anyone really knew exactly how this would pan out. I guess Ed Woodward is sitting here telling us that he knew exactly how it would pan out. Mm-hmm. I remember when Ole was appointed, me saying I wouldn't be surprised if United finished sort of somewhere near mid-table, and this wasn't a commentary on Ole's ability, just that it's very, 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 very hard to turn the tide around when you've got a sinking ship, and especially
apparently it's super easy.
Apparently it's super easy, but my thinking was that not only is that very difficult, but with a temporary manager, it's going to be difficult to motivate the players to put in something extra. But apparently not. Ole's done all the right things. Now, I still don't know, honestly, how much of this is the pressure valve being released versus, Ole has got something more than his history at Molde in the Norwegian league suggests. But with each game, we've had 10 now, and it's a pretty good cohort of evidence, isn't it? We are getting a little bit more saying that United can win in various ways under Solskjaer.
When you say his history at Molde, do you mean the fact that that's the only, apart from the terrible time at Cardiff, that's the only job he's had? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, because he has done really well at Molde,
He's done okay at Molde. He hasn't won a title for 5 years. So
well, he wasn't
they are a small club.
He wasn't in the job for all of that time. He's only been back in the job 3.5 years. And they haven't won the title for 5 years, but he's got them from 6th when he came back to 2nd twice in a row, hasn't he? So, listen, I may be excessivly defensive about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
So. Yeah.
This is possible, but it is that those things are also true.
Yeah, look, the Premier League Norwegian Tippelgaen, I
think they've got a new sponsor, so it's not called that anymore. I think.
Okay, the Norwegian Premier League is to the English Premier League what the Swedish chef is to a 3-star Michelin restaurant. It's bad. It's bad. So.
But that analogy works, except that the sous chef still needs to be good at chopping vegetables. I don't know. It's all relative, isn't it? Like, to come second in the Norwegian league, you do still have to be better than all but one of the other Norwegian teams, don't you? And like assuming assuming they haven't got a huge budget or whatever, it's still something anyway. But yeah.
Anyway,
he's dumb. He's a big dumb dummy, and also super mean to Alex Scott in a way that made you just want to rip your arms off so you had something to throw at him.
Not for the first time, yeah. So I'm going to have to call this one out. I see a lot of hate of Alex Scott on the interwebs.
Really?
Yeah, and
it's like easily in the top 3 pundits.
Misogyny. She's great. She's just a good pundit.
I'm going to go top 5. Top 5. That's what I'm going to go, because I haven't thought about it, and top 3 was reactionary.
I'm going to use a US political analogy. It's like those people who go, well, I didn't like Hillary Clinton, but it was not because she was a woman. I just don't like Elizabeth Warren either, or Kamala Harris, or any of the other 15 female Democratic potential nominees, I don't like Alex Scott. It's not because she's a woman. I just don't like that female pundit, even though she's great. So I know what that's about. Anyway, this is an aside. We were talking about how bad Paul Ince is. Remember when we did that ex-pundits who are ex-Manchester United players who are now pundits? We didn't have Ince on that list, did we? Because he wasn't really a pundit. He was just a failed manager at that point.
Yeah, he'd be giving Peter Schmeichel a run for his money.
Yeah.
Peter Schmeichel was bottom of that list, by the way.
I don't know. I think this is one where Ince could genuinely win.
You had someone else bottom. You had someone below Schmeichel. I can't remember who it was now. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? Before we get to preview, let's do the Fulham preview before we do the Twitter questions. Fulham are absolutely staggeringly awful defensively, and if we don't put 3 past them at least, that's an absolute crime against football. The problem with this is, because of the PSG game, I wonder whether there's going to be heavy rotation, and we're actually going to see a bit of a misfiring United attack, because the problem with heavy rotation... I guess when we brought Sanchez and Lukaku in for the game, was it after... It was Arsenal, wasn't it? And they were all right in that game. So maybe they'll be able to do something together, but I suspect they're both going to play in that game. And it could be a bit of an issue, but honestly... it shouldn't be that much.
We'll see. He's not going to make 9 changes. Look, yes, they're a bad team. Yes, there's PSG a few days later. Saturday, Tuesday, isn't it? I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So it's 2 games in a week. You expect that if you're in the Champions League. It's not going to be 9 changes. It'll be 3 or 4, just freshening up the players that need the freshening up most. I mean,
but yeah, it will be. But the places the changes will be in those inflection points that have made the difference between good and bad performances recently. I suspect that's my concern.
It'd be
anyway.
interesting to see what happens with Pogba. He generally doesn't get a rest. I mean, he's fit, isn't he? So perhaps he doesn't need it. Although it's interesting, I just wonder how fit this team really is, given how much they've been tailing off in the second half of games. And they're playing this more intense level of football, more high-tempo level of football, and not being able to sustain it. So, thought for another day, but I wonder what they'll do with Pogba, Rashford, Martial, Matic could probably do with having a rest. I mean, I'm not his world's biggest Matic fan, obviously, but he's going to play against PSG, isn't he? And so will Herrera, and so will Pogba. So, one or two of them are going to get a rest.
So we'll do a proper preview of PSG. I mean, we touched on the news. 5-year contract for Anthony Martial, absolutely brilliant news. And Fellaini has actually gone to China. I get very fed up with the counter-orthodoxy around Marouane Fellaini. I think, understandably, because he was literally booed by United's own fans at home, which is something that's kind of unacceptable, rightly, to vast swathes of United supporters. There's a kind of move to defend him against attack, and because he's like harassed on social media and stuff like that. And it was actually noticeable. Lots of players said goodbye to Fellaini, and Fellaini kind of put a thing on Twitter being like, "Bye to everyone I've worked with," and often, of course, people leaving United will mention the fans, and he didn't, and I don't blame him for that at all. But he was rubbish.
Yeah,
all the time. Like, he did some good things for United and made key contributions, but basically, all in all, he was rubbish.
So I wanted to ensure that I could back up my claims of basically he was rubbish, because I saw the same thing. People, there was a lot of revisionism about Fellaini. Suddenly he was good, scored lots of important goals, and if you don't see that, you don't understand football. Not saying everyone had that view, but certain Manchester United correspondents of the local paper seem to have that view.
No, has Luckworth been on Big Marouane?
Anyway,
he's been bigging up Big Marouane, has he?
So I just looked. Creativity, assist, total of 5 in 5 years. Expected assist of 0.04 per 90.
0.04 expected assists per 90.
And he's brought in as an attacking player, sort of. I'm not really sure what he was brought in as. 22 goals in 178 games, which is
fine,
one in 8 or something like that. Shots, 1.5 per 90. Expected goals per 90, 0.23. So
that's okay. That's not bad.
It's okay, but it's not an attacking midfielder. Averages about 40, completed passes a game. Key pass average at 0.9 per 90. That's not horrible, but not great. 80% pass completion, 64% in the final third. He's no number 10. Defensive contribution, this is the interesting one. 0.2 shots blocked per 90, so he has to play 5 games before he blocks a shot. 2.2 tackles per 90.
It's pretty normal numbers, isn't it?
That's his second touch. 1.3 clearances per 90. And it's labouring the point, but he wasn't much good at anything. He's not creative, he's not a passer, he's not a goal scorer, and he's not a defensive player. What was he?
And I think that what this really comes down to is there are things that Marouane Fellaini is really good at. And they include chest control, which it's no joke. He's the best I've ever seen with his chest. And also, he is absolutely incredible at putting it about a bit. Like, one of the best ever. If you could tell me that we could keep Marouane Fellaini for the next 5 years and we would exclusively use him in the last 10 minutes of games, I'd be delighted. Because, he scored 9 match-winning goals, I think 3 in semi-finals, which is pretty incredible. So he has made important contributions in his time. But they almost all come from him being a battering ram. And for every one good thing he did 5 bad things.
Right. You didn't mention his elbows. two very good elbows.
Yeah, and I really hate that. It's so cowardly, Anyway, not a big fan, and I think you can say, yeah, he did these good things, and he shouldn't have been booed, and he was probably ridiculed too much. But I think you don't have to go to the other extreme and go, oh yeah, and actually, if everyone played like Fellaini, then they gave everything for the shirt and yada 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 yada. I'm not convinced about that, Anyway.
Yeah, no, I think the pendulum swung back too far the other way. Anyway, should we get to some questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Lucas _M United, friend of the show, says...
Yeah, you pick a question from Lucas every week. Do you know that, Ed?
That's good. It's because I questioned his friend of the show status, not clicking that he has been a friend of the show for the past 10 years, and now I'm overcompensating.
Okay,
anyway,
good. So you should. That's right.
That's Lucas _M United.
Yeah.
10 years of Valencia. Hopefully it's over this summer. How has his overall contribution been to United? So actually, this is one where I think perhaps people have gone too far the other way, because look, it's fair to criticise him for his contribution now. Well, Ollie's basically sacked him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's been missing for most of the squads now, and his performances last season weren't that good, and they weren't that good when he was in the team. And Mourinho, it's time for him to go, and he's out of contract in the summer, so I'm quite sure he will. But let's, he's played 300 games for United or so. He's been at the club an awful long time. He had one wonderful season where he seemed to find Wayne Rooney's head with every cross he put in. And in later times he converted to a fullback with decent effect. Not great effect, but decent effect. So he's put a lot of shifts in for United. Wasn't quite the winger maybe we hoped he'd be, but not bad.
I mean, has he been good at any time in the last 5 years?
Not great, no.
I mean, I guess there were periods under Van Gaal where he was all right, I suppose. I don't know.
But you saw off all the competition at right back.
Yeah,
somehow.
But I think he's in the kind of Jones and Smalling camp of just like, there's no way he'd still be at United if we'd had a consistent manager for these last few years. But he was a really good winger for like a season, but then he was also quite a bad winger sometimes too. But that season where he found his mojo and he was just prepared to get his head down and run past everyone, that was great.
Yeah, and that's what he stopped doing. So the biggest fault he found later in his career is that he became too timid, far too timid.
Yeah, and basically, I think overall, he's not a player that should have 300 games for United on his record. Should have been 150
330. And I don't know where that puts him in the all-time list, but I bet it puts him in the sort of top 25-ish.
Yeah, it's pretty high. But, there's Chris Smalling's got 300 appearances for United as well. So this has been a great time to be slightly below the expected level and get tons of appearances for United.
Allist says, Paul Ince would make a better podcast. He would. It'd be the greatest podcast ever, and he'd have Brucey and Hughesy on.
I mean, they would definitely get more listeners than us.
Well, yeah, they could talk for an hour, perhaps an hour and a half, and get more listeners than us. And we don't talk any at all, do we?
I would listen to a Mark Hughes and Steve Bruce podcast. I would be like that show. I would just be, I'd be just waiting for Steve Bruce to speak mostly, I think.
Leo Naylor Orchard says, do you see a solution to the Alexis and Lukaku problem? They're on too big a wages to be moved on conventionally.
It's a great question, because nobody, unless Alexis Sanchez is prepared to take a massive pay cut or go to China, those are his only two options. We're in the Rooney situation.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, it's really, really difficult. I think if they weren't on huge wages or had shorter contracts, then it'd be easier for the club to move them on in the summer, even if it meant paying off some of the contract. And there would be a big temptation to do so, I imagine. But they're both on huge money. I mean, especially Alexis. No one is going to pay him the amount that we're paying him alongside all the bonuses. Whether it's 350 or 500 a week, it's insane for the level of performance that he's been putting in for the last 18 months. China really is the only option unless he wants to take a pay cut or United want to pay out that contract.
Lukaku is a different situation because he's young. I think he's much better than Alexis. I'm sure he's on less money than Alexis. When did we sign him? It was 2 summers ago, wasn't it? This is the end of his second season, so 3 years left to go on that deal. And you know, you could see a deal being worked out there. I think if there was a club that really wanted him and were prepared to pay a decent transfer fee, I can imagine United working out a deal on those wages.
And then it really does depend on who comes in next as well. If it's Ole, it just doesn't fit the style of football very well. I mean, he scored 27 goals in his first season for United. The beginning of this season, I was fully predicting he'd score even more goals. So it's not like he's a bad player. He's got some faults, for sure, many of which we laid out before he even fully joined the club. And those haven't really improved that much during his time. I think it's just the style of fast pace, let's move the ball really quickly, let's play a high tempo football under Ole doesn't suit him.
No, absolutely. And
doesn't suit Juan Mata either.
I'm not sure.
Way. And we both love Juan Mata, but he's also out of contract, and it's going to be hard to justify a new long-term deal for him in this type of football.
The other person whose football I'm not sure would suit Romelu Lukaku would be Mauricio Pochettino. I don't see Mauricio Pochettino's football as particularly suitable for Lukaku either, and especially not if you're talking about a straight fight for centre forward between Lukaku and Marcus Rashford. I just don't. Obviously Lukaku scored loads more goals than Rashford in his career and has played centre forward a lot more times, but I just don't think that's even a decision at the moment.
Yeah, Pochettino flips between 1 and 2 up front, doesn't he? Depending on whether he's playing 3 or 4 at the back or.
But if he's going to play 2 up front, it's probably going to be Martial and Rashford, isn't it? In the way that it's Son is the second, isn't he, up front? It's not Llorente and Kane playing together.
So Pochettino, just a little diversion here. Yeah. I read an awful lot of criticism of Pochettino after he was pretty negative after Spurs got dumped out of 2 competitions. We talked about this a little bit last week. He said that it's just for egos and it's all about fourth. And, I have some sympathy with him because if he's talking to his chairman, there's zero chance, less than zero chance that Daniel Levy trades off a minor cup competition for dropping out the top 4. None at all, right? And it's the only way the club moved forward. So, he said it very inelegantly and took a lot of criticism. And I'm not some huge Pochettino super fan or anything like that. I imagine that he would do a very good job at United. But, 9 wins in 10 says Ole is doing a very good job at United. So, but I thought the rewriting of Pochettino's performance at Spurs is totally wrong, right? Spurs' wage budget is half United's, half, right? Not 75% of it, half. And I don't know how you put that into enough context when you talk about his performance level at Spurs. Yeah. They're second in the table on half the wage budget. Since he was appointed, United have spent 484 million net, fella. That's net spend, fella. So Spurs is 28 million net. It depends on the forex whether you convert in euros or pounds, but it's a few fives of millions either side, right?
If you're talking about 480 versus 24, the specifics don't matter that much, do they?
Yeah, so just put that in context and his level of performance. And you can say, oh, well, look, he's got all these great players. Yeah, where do you think those bloody great players came from? They either bought them super cheap or they've traded really well or he's brought through young players. I think he's done a phenomenal job. And normally doing a phenomenal job gets you a promotion.
And the great players thing, they signed Moussa Sissoko for 30 million, which is more than their total net spend. And everyone would have, there's not a more I'll drive him to another club myself player than Moussa Sissoko. And yet he's been absolutely vital to Tottenham this season because Pochettino would not give up on him. And that side of Pochettino, I think, excites me and would mean that I would just about tolerate the concept of an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer-less Man United, although I'm not prepared to countenance that just yet.
Well, put it in another way that's less offensive to your sensibilities.
Yeah.
If Valverde goes at Barcelona or Solari, very likely to not stay at Real Madrid, and he's willing to move, he'll be manager of either of those sides.
Yeah, although he wouldn't take the Barca job because of his Espanyol thing. But I don't think the trophy thing is negligible. I think there is an issue around the fact. I think saying that they're only for ego is just wrong-headed, and even not considering them to be. You're right about the chairman thing. But it's not an either-or thing, is it? It's not either, because once you're in the semi-final, it's not like getting to the final is going to stop you being in the top four. Like, I get kind of that there's a missing piece of the puzzle there for me in that what's going on? Why do they lose every semi-final they're in? Like, that's now, is it just because they're always up against teams with a bigger wage budget? Sure, but they beat them sometimes. You know, I don't think it's nothing. And I think what he said was wrong, because actually I think this side would really benefit from the tangible experience of winning something. And
that
and
I agree with. And I think it would do. But once they'd won it, they'll be disappearing off to other clubs, maybe. And for sure, if he said what he said at United, he'd be hammered, and rightly so. We'd be putting him in the same camp as David Moyes. Anyway, that was a very long aside.
Yeah, but it's, Pochettino Watchettino, as the segment is called, is probably kind of important given everything that's going on, isn't it? So
that James Boy, now the Solskjaer Appreciation Society.
Yes!
How great is the dedication that Mike and Ollie went to Lyon to prep for PSG?
I mean, that seems normal to me. That everyone was like, "Oh, look, it was only 4 hours ago," and it's like, yeah, that's because that's about how long it takes to get to Lyon.
Took a private plane from East Midlands Airport out to Lyon. Yeah, I'm not sure that this is some kind of measure of great dedication. Great to see them there. Mike Phelan's hat, though.
Amazing. Wow. Absolutely amazing. I like
beanie. I have to say, I'm no fashionista, so I didn't even know they existed.
As a 41-year-old man, I like a man dressing who refuses to accept his age when it comes to his choice of clothes, because it makes me feel like I have more options.
Yeah. Mika Latonen says, now friend of the show, Mika Latonen, now that Fred is never playing as Sanchez is a bit, should we rewrite that line in Ollie's at the wheel?
I genuinely think they should have. They're kind of just nudge out Sanchez and put Lingard in there. We can leave Fred because we need the rhyme, but Lingard, Paul Pogba, and Fred. I think that's probably more accurate to what's actually good about us.
Yeah. Tom Nielsen, thoughts on Declan Rice as a Matic replacement? We did a whole bonus segment last week on potential players, and I missed a couple that I'd been thinking of.
Okay.
It was late and I was tired.
Yeah.
So I missed out a couple of fullbacks. I wanted to talk about Ben Chilwell at Leicester. We saw this weekend. He wasn't awesome, was he? He's definitely played better than that. And Mendy at Lyon. But Declan Rice is one that had completely bypassed me. But he's an excellent, really excellent young player and can play, I'd say, in several positions. But it looks like his position is going to be defensive midfield.
And I haven't seen a massive amount of him, but what I have seen I've really liked. And he's a young player, so he's allowed to make mistakes and he's allowed to have bad games and all that kind of malarkey. But yeah, I do like Declan Rice, and it's a really interesting shout. I wonder if it wouldn't cost an absolute fortune.
Well, he would, but all good players. I mean, especially being... Everyone. I was going to say, especially being English. But of course he's not.
Well, we don't know
Governor.
yet. It's not confirmed one way or another, is it? Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's a player I mentioned in Dispatches in terms of a fullback. Roy Hodgson saying after the Palace game at the weekend, he made a mistake in the 93rd minute, and I'm glad because it proved he wasn't a robot. So I really like that. Although, if it was good AI trying to mask as a human, it might be like, it is time to make a mistake so I look human. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is, and this is canon, Rankcast canon, a robot.
Nice. I shall pay close attention, given that you have recommended him. Yeah. I've seen a bit, obviously, but and we're playing Palace in a couple of weeks' time, so we'll get a good up-close look. Ryan Clark says, who did it better, Jose or Gerrard? Oh, this is good. You've seen this one?
Oh dear. Oh, it looked like it hurt. I don't like that because it really did look like it hurt his hip. And he's not, he took a right old tumble, didn't he?
Yeah, it does, falling on ice. Hard,
Yeah.
because I do a lot of ice dancing.
Yeah, of
No, I
course.
don't, but I hate going ice skating. It's that one weekend a year when everyone's like, the whole family's like, oh, let's go ice skating. I'm like, no.
Do you just hold on to the edge and
I
stutter
mince
around
around the edge for the hour, terrified.
Well, you do get bad backs, Ed. You probably shouldn't go ice skating.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that one really looked like it hurt. So I saw lots of people finding great humour in it. I have to say, I didn't find tremendous humour in seeing a man of a certain age fall over.
I found it quite funny.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Luke Shaw's fault, though, wasn't it? Maybe Paul Pogba's.
Yeah, possibly.
This podcast is descending into juvenile humour.
Yeah, descending from the previous great height of no juvenile humour that it's occupied for the last 10 years.
Mark Ferguson says, bringing back Ollie has been a joy. What else would you bring back from the 1990s? Roy Keane, Ryan Giggs, Beckham, Scholes.
I don't know. The 90s are a bit vague for me.
Liam Gallagher, because I'm supporting City for the league.
Well, hypercolour T-shirts, the world's worst invention. Here, allow us to provide you with a T-shirt which demonstrates exactly where you're sweating.
Errol 22D says, win, lose or draw, cannot wait for PSG at Old Trafford. When was the last Champions League game you felt this genuinely as excited? Keep up the good work, chaps.
Real Madrid 2013.
When Nani got sent off.
Yeah. I mean, the Bayern game under Moyes was hard to get excited about. I mean, it was
because we knew how it was going to end in the. I mean, it was bloody exciting for a moment when Paddy Evra lashed it into the top corner.
Yeah, and the first leg at Old Trafford, the atmosphere was absolutely extraordinary, and United's performance was decent, although they definitely rode their luck. And it was not nice to see United parking the bus at home. There was the Welbeck chip into Manuel Neuer's hands. But I don't think I was super excited about that game because I just wanted the Moyes regime to be over. Van Gaal, we didn't make it out the group stages. So yeah, Madrid, definitely that Madrid game.
Yeah, I agree. And it was gutting, wasn't it? And that was the one where, or the away leg was the one where Fergie dropped Rooney for Danny Welbeck.
Yeah, he did. Welbeck was brilliant in that game.
He was 0-0 away, and
that's the De Gea Kung Fu kick save as well.
That's right.
That the photo of that save is absolutely amazing from directly behind the goal.
Oh, missed opportunity. James Bonser, friend of the show, says, which of the upcoming games do you see Ollie giving Dallo a run at right back, considering Young has not been in great form? He could make the difference. Also, Ollie has said the likes of Gomez, Chong and Greenwood would get a look in. Which games would you bring them in for?
Yeah.
Good question, because they're going to get bigger and bigger, the games. There aren't going to be that many gimme games, are there?
I said this on... We talked about
Fulham at the weekend?
Yeah, we talked about this on the Leicester preview on Full Time Devils, and the same question was asked about where because he talked about Ethan Laird, Mason Greenwood, and so where they get a game, it's not obvious, and Fulham at the weekend would not be the worst time. You could start Mason Greenwood in that game up front. I think that'd be really amazing, or certainly bring him on in the second half. Give Rashford a rest when we're 5-0 up at half time.
Yeah, could happen. God, the hubris in this podcast about the Fulham game. We're going to lose, aren't we? And deservedly so. Yeah, I'd really like to see these kids have a game. Not least, it signals, doesn't it, that if Ollie is going to stay, that youth is certainly going to be given a go. Because basically, Ollie's been playing with the same squad as Mourinho, just getting much better performances out of the same players. He's not suddenly changed all the players or anything like that in order to get 9 wins out of 10, which kind of doesn't compute, because everybody on Twitter told me it was all about the fact that United hadn't spent £1 gazillion in the transfer market.
Well, I mean, he's actually played slightly different players as well, hasn't he? And he certainly played players in different positions. But Pogba wasn't playing. Herrera's hardly played this season before he came in. And Rashford and Martial are starting every game. That certainly wasn't happening. So there's been some difference in personnel. But yeah, you're right.
Adam Salmon says, how much can we attribute the slight drop-off in performance levels recently to a lack of fitness, the need to rotate, corollary to Mourinho's style demanding so little running? Yeah, I mean, point made earlier. I think there may be something in this. I don't know because I don't have the data from those vest things they like to wear to see if Ollie is making them run loads more. And it's one of those weird stats that's really hard to get hold of. A number of yards run, but I suspect there's something in this.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely potentially could be something in this.
Ben_Taylor Ben, friend of the show, says, in response to your favourite player names segment last week, which is your favourite bit of United-related commentary in recent history? How recent are we talking here? Because I think nearly 20 years ago, this May, it's quite a good piece of commentary.
We had two in the space of 2 weeks from Martin Tyler. Clive Stelsley. His two best pieces of commentary ever happened in the same season, within a couple of weeks of each other. Roy Keane with a captain's goal and the end of '99. But let's talk actually recent, because I don't think you can call 20 years ago recent history. Martin Tyler for Martial's
Still feels
first...
recent.
Yeah, it does, but it isn't. The 1999 season, that's what I'd bring back from the 90s. Martin Tyler for Anthony Martial's first goal has to be my single favourite moment of commentary in recent years, United related. You know the one? Anthony Martial, oh yes! It's really, as he skins the whole skins the whole of Liverpool's defence and scores on his debut.
God, he was Martial, after he signed a contract, was talking about that in one of the interviews he did, being still his favourite moment. Oh, God, brings the goosebumps out, doesn't it? That does.
It really does.
Absolutely magic.
It really does.
By the time they leave, says MJCXGC, who'll have spent the longest time in the hotel? United at the W Hotel or Jose at the Lowry? I don't think we're going to keep winning for 2 years. Sorry about this, but it's not going to happen.
Just, yeah, that's absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So just to let you know, Ed, you said we're not going to go for ages. You've been asking questions for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and it's now 56 minutes into the show.
All right, we will leave it there and we'll get on to Paris Saint-Germain. Tell me all that you know about Paris Saint-Germain.
Neymar's not going to play, is he? So it's going to be easy. Easy.
It is. There were several questions about Neymar this week based on his recent Instagram post. You got any comments on that?
No, I have no comments on that. And I think this is a subject that is too uncomfortable for comment. Listen, PSG, right? They are really, really good. I mean, I know they lost to Lyon because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in the crowd and they freaked out about Mike Phelan's hat. But they don't lose very many games. And
it's just like none. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. And they score 1 million goals all the time. And Kylian Mbappe is an absolute... I mean, he's just magic, Kylian Mbappe is. He's 18 goals this season in the league. And in the Champions League, Neymar is their top scorer in the Champions League. He's been man of the match in, I think, four of their 6 games in the Champions League. So, they will definitely miss him. He's vitally important to them. And so much goes through him. But, I guess Di Maria will play in his place, won't he? And he's not a bad player, Angel Di Maria.
Yeah, I mean, Cavani down the middle and Mbappe and Di Maria on either flank, I would imagine. And Mbappe getting the ball on the left and cutting inside, if that's where he's going to play, is going to be really dangerous. He takes a lot of shots, Kylian Mbappe, and he scores a lot of goals as well. Huge threat for United, this one. I mean, obviously, Cavani knows where the goal is, doesn't he? He's had a whole career of scoring a lot of goals. Only ever really stopped when he was forced to play on the wing to accommodate Neymar's ego. I imagine that won't be the case this time round. But it goes beyond that. Obviously Di Maria and Draxler, and they've got quality in central midfield as well. So United may struggle to get the ball, at least away from home. We'll see what it looks like at home. But the threat on the break from PSG will be huge as well. Obviously, they don't have to play on the break an awful lot in French football because they get about 99% of the of possession in every single game, there or thereabouts. Maybe slightly exaggerating. They take a huge amount of shots. I mean, 250 odd from open play. Believe me, that's a lot of shots this season, given that they've only played 20 games or so.
By my maths, that's 100 a game.
Yeah, near as damn it, just rounding up. They score goals from corners as well. They're very good at getting penalties because they have a lot of players who are both divey and very good at running at players.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we've got rid of one of the diveys in Neymar, but Di Maria and Mbappe like a dive too. Love a dive, I might say. So that's going to be something to look out for. So, danger all over the pitch here. I imagine they'll play a 4-3-3. That tends to be the formation they play. And United will match up fairly well. I mean, I imagine we'll go with the diamond again in midfield because it's been working and we can get a lot of bodies in midfield if necessary.
Yeah. That makes sense. I wonder you play kind of Lingard in that false nine role. I guess we might see the Martial, Rashford, Lingard across the three in that way. I wonder whether there'll be any more specific changes than that.
We'll see. I mean, Paris played 3 at the back against Lyon at the weekend, which is not how they normally do it. With Bernat and Alves as sort of wing backs. I'm sure they'll just go with the 2 and probably Marquinhos and Silva, but it might not be because that's not who they played at the weekend. We'll see.
Unless I've got my maths wrong, they've only lost 2 games in all competitions this season.
Yeah.
One of those was Lyon just now, and the other one was the game that they lost to Liverpool in the Champions League, when it required a 91st minute winner for Liverpool to get that, and Paris were just excellent for swathes of that game. Especially, I remember the Mbappe goal being particularly impressive, but maybe that's my memory playing tricks on me. So what Solskjaer's done in big games so far is look for weaknesses to exploit. Any idea on what you would class as Paris Saint-Germain's weaknesses that he could exploit?
I mean, not a lot of them. They are strong. They are strong everywhere. They may be in central midfield. Maybe. I mean, they played Marquinhos in central midfield at Lyon, and it didn't work for them. So they played a defender in central midfield and 5 at the back, and Lyon still had 3.4 xG. Although, from what I saw of the game, they didn't even play that well, Lyon, but still, they created a lot of chances. So maybe in central midfield is a weakness. Are they going to play Diaby there? Are they going to play Paredes? What's the mix? How do they balance?
His new signing, any Paredes? Is he? I don't know where they signed him from. He's not Champions League banned or anything, is he?
I don't think so. He's signing from Russia somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there's Russian teams in the Champions League.
Should have researched this. Don't know the answer off the top of my head. Can't be bothered to stop the podcast, go search it, and Tom seamlessly edit it in to make us sound more intelligent.
That happens a lot, by the way, listeners, just in case you were wondering.
Not allowed behind the podcast curtain.
I was just trying to intimate that we sound intelligent.
Yeah, that's wrong as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so this kind of this sort of 3-5-2 or 5-3-2 they played at the weekend with a weird mix of Julian Draxler and Di Maria and Marquinhos. I don't think they'll play that again, but they may play one of Draxler or Di Maria in midfield. Maybe it's Draxler, with Di Maria up front, and then maybe Diaby. We'll see exactly what the balance is, but maybe that's a weakness. Maybe United can exploit it. It's going to take some high tempo football to bypass that midfield and get at that back four, because the back four is good. I mean, if Marquinhos and Silva play alongside Alves and Bernat, that's a fine back four. And I don't know who's in goal. Areola is at the weekend. I guess he's in goal. We'll see.
I guess better teams than us have tried to exploit Dani Alves' tendency to want to attack unsuccessfully, but even Dani Alves must get old at some point. So maybe there'll be a bit of space left in behind when he's gallivanting up the field that we can take advantage of, as we did against Spurs. It's going to be fascinating, and I wonder whether it's going to be similar to that Real Madrid game when, I don't know if you remember our preview of that game, but I do remember not being particularly optimistic ahead. I think definitely everyone was surprised by the level of intensity in United's performance and the sheer quality in United's performance and just first to every ball and, all of that kind of stuff. And Solskjaer said quite a lot's been made of Ferguson, maybe a little bit too much has been made of Ferguson's involvement so far this season, but a bit of the spirit of Sir Alex wouldn't go amiss here, would it? What we want to see is our players full of confidence and really believing in their own abilities to make a dent in this team and not to have any kind of inferiority complex going into this, because Paul Pogba, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, these players would definitely be at the level where PSG would be pleased to have them in their squad, if not their first team. So sure. we have got players that would get into their side.
And as mentioned, when Mourinho got the boot, they were looking forward to playing a Mourinho Manchester United because they would have got known exactly what they were going to get.
Yeah.
Now they're going to get something extremely different.
Yeah.
They're going to, as you say, they are going to get a team that looks to exploit their weaknesses and attacks them. And maybe that'll be United's weakness because PSG certainly have the quality to pick United off on the break.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they ever have to play on the break, because they never do.
It's interesting. I wonder if they thought, well, we can afford to lose this game, so we'll pretend that we might play with the back three because we know that Solskjaer and Phelan are here and we're scared of their excellent scouting. I don't really know. Yes.
Mike Phelan's magic hat.
Mike Phelan's magic. He's got a magic hat. They thought it was a beanie, but it was in fact a cap or something like that.
Flat.
Yeah. All right. When I start rhyming, it's time for us to wrap up.
Very good. Well, we will see everyone next week after 2 awesome wins. What are your predictions?
We're going to record after the Paris Saint-Germain game because trying to get a podcast out between the Saturday and the Tuesday is not really viable. So it'll probably be the Wednesday, I guess, that we record. It's probably not going to be on the Tuesday night. So it's going to be a little while till there's another Rantcast. I think we're going to smash Fulham. I think Fulham will score and it'll be like 3-1. And I think the PSG game... Now, actually predicting this is slightly terrifying. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. That gives us a lot of hope, but actually is quite a sticky situation to go back to Paris in.
All right. I'm going to go for the return of 4-0 FC against Fulham.
You keep going for that every week.
I'm just going to keep doing it. Yeah, I've got to believe. And 1-1 draw with Paris.
All right. Lovely. Merci pour écouter. I don't know why you saying Paris made me talk French. We'll see you after the PSG game. Oh, it's a massive one. It's exciting. United are back.
Yes.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.